It's on Vinyl and Vision.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. Here we are with episode 82. Very special guest, Crissy Cuellar of the band Moonpussy. This is number 7 in our Noise Rocks series for No Coast Fest 2022. Crissy was an excellent guest to speak with. She is the lead singer and bassist for the band Moonpussy. Very involved as far as discussing the band Moonpussy, where they are from, what they are doing, what they have done, and what are their future plans. Also, of course, the influence of the album Fugazi's End Hits on her and her development growing up. Really great conversation. Actually kind of touches on a couple of really interesting aspects that are come from the End Hits record. And it was a very, very cool discussion. If you don't have your tickets yet for No Coast Fest, time is running out. We are dwindling down to the final weeks before the festival. Links will be provided in the show notes for those tickets. We encourage you to please get those as soon as you can. Any of the all 4 days or weekend passes are still available, so go get them. Crissy and Moonpussy are performing on the final night, Sunday night. We hope you enjoy this conversation, and if you do, all that we ask is that you please do all the things you do with the internet: like, share, comment, subscribe, rate, review, all of those things. It helps us out greatly, and we do appreciate it. And if you'd care to help us out in a more of a financial aspect, you can always go to our website, psychicstatic.net, and any purchase you make there goes towards supporting the show. We have numbers of records and merchandise. We even have some of these. Hammer Party t-shirts are available up there now, and any purchase you make is very helpful, and it actually will help me get to and from Texas alive. So I do thank you for that if you do make that purchase. Thank you very much, folks. We'll talk to you very soon.
Hi.
Hey, Crissy. Hey, hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I was just looking over your name. The last name is Cuellar? Is that how you pronounce that?
Cuellar. It's like quasar
Cuellar.
without the Z.
Okay, Cuellar. I can't roll my R's. I'm a disgraceful Latino male. I can't do it.
Okay. Well, there's no R rolling necessary for that name, but
but that's how you said it. I mean, because I just can't. I don't have that accent. I can't do that.
oh, no, that's fine. I mean, it essentially a lot of people just say Cuellar, and it works.
Cuellar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just feels weird for me, but I know what you mean. I get it. So how are you doing?
Good. I just woke up.
Oh.
So good morning / good evening, I guess.
Yeah, you have you live the vampire lifestyle. I remember you said.
Yes. I work nights, and so it's just easier for my whole life to shift over to a nighttime schedule.
That's not so bad for a band, huh?
No, it's kind of funny when everyone's ready to pass out and leave. I mean, it's about lunchtime for me, so it worked out.
Weird. That's so great. It's just such a weird lifestyle when you're doing that. But obviously you're well adjusted to it. So
getting there. Yeah, getting there. It's been about a year in the making. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the feel for it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you are the bass player and singer for the band Moonpussy, correct?
Yes, I am.
How did that come to be, that name, Moonpussy?
Well, Ethan and I, we were driving to Boulder. We used to be radio DJs, and we're listening to a podcast, and someone said the word Moonpussy, and I thought that should be that we could make a band called Moonpussy, and he said, "Sold, you can't change it," and that's how it came to be. I didn't really know what it meant until a couple of years later.
Oh, why? What does it mean? I don't know what it means.
I mean, I think it started off in the 1970s as I guess, slang term for a butthole. Didn't know that. I was thinking about a space cat. But yep, there we are.
Oh, okay. Weird. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I am completely oblivious to that. So
Sweet, me too. I was as well.
Shocking to me. Well, that's cool. So and you are in Denver, Colorado, is it?
Yep.
So how's that? How's that over there?
I mean, it's mountainous. It's beautiful, but it's really hard to travel in and out of if you're in a band. So, I mean, it's a
Hmm.
little bit isolated. It's fun though. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I haven't been yet. But is there like any kind of or what is the music scene like there?
A lot of jam bands, a really great metal scene.
Hmm.
Hardly any noise rock. I mean, it's kind of picking up, but more art rock than that, and I don't know, a lot of rave music.
Oh,
I think it's kind of it's not as diverse as a lot of or angry, I think, as a lot of more what I find in the East Coast or West Coast. But
hmm.
I mean,
Okay. Are you from there?
no, I've been here for about 12 years, but I grew up in a border town in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Brownsville, right by South Padre Island, where a lot of spring breakers like to hang out.
Oh, yeah. You're going from one party community to another.
I guess so. Not by intent.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I know of Denver. I mean, it seems like a very much a tourist destination kind of area. So hence the jam band population and because it kind of just that jam band just kind of it just makes me think like, oh, this is like a party place. This is a place where people come to let it all hang out or to have a vacation or something.
I mean, it has got a lot of great natural resources that let people like to you know experience, which is great as well. That's kind of the big selling point for me. And there's a
Hmm.
lot of interesting scientific communities that I like that I'm a part of, and I mean, Ethan recently was working on building satellites and spaceships and stuff, and
Oh,
I
okay.
work in uh, process development for cancer medications and stuff. So I mean, I guess there's also party people, but there's also a big scientific community that likes to do research and climate mitigation, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, it's only a kind of topic, like a surface kind of analysis of that area. It's just that's kind of just what I hear. I mean, that's why I ask because I kind of need to know. But
Yeah,
so the music scene's not that great. I mean, it's developing still. How long has Moon Pussy been around for?
that's a great question, and I don't even know if I can answer that really. it's
Okay.
it's been a few different iterations with different people. I mean, Ethan and I have all played music together since we met. So, but I guess the first rendition of Moon Pussy, which is a bit more like a doomy band, was started about 8 years ago. And then with Corey, that's been 6 years in the making.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. So, and you have about two full length records and a new split out.
And we just finished recording another full length.
Oh, cool. Great.
Pretty excited about. It's right now in
Yeah.
mastering with one of our buddies in Chicago.
Oh, great. Cool. So you think that'll be out for probably next year, fallish, maybe?
Good timing. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, I mean, because I imagine you might do vinyl because you did a vinyl of your last record, the self-titled one, right?
Yes, we did. Who I honestly can't even. I can't. We're not even at that point. We haven't really discussed logistics as far as that goes yet.
Oh, well, you
Uh,
got to if you want to do vinyl because it takes so long now. That's the problem, you know. So you just kind of have to kind of game plan it from there. I mean, like if you're interested in doing it, which I think that you probably are, it's minimum 6 to 8 months, depending on where you go, and that's like that's on the high end as far as like turnaround is concerned. So,
yeah, true. I mean, we've done a couple other splits and releases that haven't really included vinyl that were more of a good idea, like art posters. So it's less wasteful, I think.
mhm.
Um, it's over the long term, but I'm not entirely sure. We haven't really discussed how we want to proceed with that yet.
Yeah, okay, well, that's
Yeah.
fine. Just figured
But
I'd
good
ask.
call. If it's if it's about a year out, I mean, we probably should discuss it now.
Yeah, just in case. I mean, because it's unfortunate that, you know, I've already seen it and I've kind of been dealing with it, like working with a band, as far as like, you know, they have their hearts set on having a record out or a recording out by a certain time. And then
Hmm.
you're like, oh, you want to do vinyl though, right? And then they're like, yeah. It's like, okay, well then just push that way back. You know?
Hmm.
So it's just to get an idea, because so that you don't kind of like have unrealistic expectations. So
Oh, for sure. I understand that there's definitely a hold up as far as that goes. So
yeah. Now you
it
said that you and Ethan, Ethan is the guitar player of the band, right?
yes.
And you were both DJs at one point?
Hmm. Yeah, when we moved here as a way to kind of understand our community as well as what music offerings there were in Colorado, we decided to join this college radio station, 1190 AM, that he had listened to growing up as a teenager in Colorado. And so we decided to go for it and get to go to free shows and play
Hmm.
music maybe people weren't really familiar with. And it was fun.
Yeah, interesting. Um, so you've kind of had a lifelong love of music, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm honestly kind of hanging on the tailcoats of Ethan's lifelong obsession with music. Uh, I grew up listening to pretty embarrassing stuff, but I I've definitely learned a lot and gained a plethora of knowledge from him and his lifelong music
Yeah. Okay. Well,
obsessions.
tell me about these embarrassing musical iterations that you had growing up.
I mean, you know the Selena,
Yeah.
Bitty Bitty
The
Bum Bum,
tragic
yeah,
story.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, growing up in a border town, you listen to a lot of cumbia and oh, and I think my mother was into Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. My dad was into 1950s bubblegum, whatever it is, rock and roll,
Yeah.
uh, and a lot of, I guess, Spanish influence um, music.
Yeah.
So,
On like the kind of rock, like the rock and roll side, I may
mhm.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
my dad was
interesting.
born in, yeah, my dad was born in the 1920s, so his music was very PG and oldies.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Yeah, and your mother, you said she was listening to like Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. So that's kind of like the you know, the beginnings of metal back in
mhm.
the, you know, 70s, I guess is correct.
Yeah, yeah. She used to, that's how she would wake me up. She would turn up all of our radios the same song. It was pretty great. So that was my beginnings into music.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool though. And like I feel like that's, you know, fairly unique that your mother, the woman of the family, was the one that was like the metalhead.
Yeah, I mean, she grew up in Mexico City and like in the 1970s, and then has went to parties with Hendrix and stuff. And so I think she had a bit of a different upbringing than my father, of course. So she brought that into the family.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. So what intrigued you? Like what kind of inspired you to kind of get into music?
I've always been interested in it. Well, I mean, to the degree that you can as a kid, being in choir and drama and whatever. Um, I mean, I had to start taking piano lessons at the age of 5. So it's kind of been a part of my life from, I mean, inception, essentially.
Hmm.
And then when I met Ethan in Denton, I happened to live in a house that had about a quarter acre of land, and we started throwing shows, and it kind of made, and so we began curating these wonderful events in a small city in Texas. It made me want to pick up an instrument and start playing too,
Hmm.
again. So started with drums, and then Ethan wanted to play a band here, and we decided to start Moon Pussy.
Oh, okay. So this is your first band?
No, I mean, no, but it's our, I guess the first band in the sense that, I'd never been in a band that did the touring and the
Yeah.
multiple EPs. So yeah, I guess it is.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's
Your
it's
first
really
like professional like working band.
yeah, Yeah,
Right.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still fun. That's the whole point of this, is to have fun and enjoy ourselves. And for me, it's really cathartic. And if it's better than yoga, well, I mean,
It's different
it's
than
like
yoga, but it's good. Yeah.
meditative.
Yeah, yeah, equally healthy for you, like for your mind and body, I would imagine. I mean, it's been a while since I've played, especially with anybody, and I definitely do miss it, and I definitely feel a difference, like when I do start playing again, like when I have a few times, like kind of trying to do something with somebody, it definitely brings a different feel. Like you definitely just feel good about yourself.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
it's just a great release. I mean, the a lot of the things that I researched in life now are kind of depressing. So it's it's really good to have an outlet to kind of ah
Yeah, yeah, cancer research, huh?
yeah, that and a lot of climate mitigation stuff.
Oh, in addition, so you do both.
Hmm.
Are you a actual doctor, or what is your
I'm
background?
an engineer. I'm
What?
an environmental engineer.
Oh, okay. So let's see. We were talking about music, growing up in the house. So when, like, for this show specifically, we talk about like a specific record that you can kind of choose and kind of pinpoint as something that was influential to you. When did this come around to you, being introduced to Fugazi's End Hits?
High school. I discovered Fugazi in high school when I was starting to get into punk rock and a lot of and new wave, no wave.
Mm,
And it kind of it's been a background soundtrack to my life for a long time. Um,
mm,
it's not necessarily an album that I listen to every day anymore, but I feel like it was very influential to me and to the music we played, based off the ethos of the band as a whole, and a lot of the music and lyrics inspired by social justices. And I feel like that definitely kind of motivated my lyric writing and a lot of the weird art background stuff that we do with the band.
yeah. Okay. Interesting. Because like so I've been listening to your music, and I really like it. It's obviously in the noise rock vein, which I will ask you about that as well. But as far as like saying that this album and kind of the politicism behind it, like the messaging, the activism behind it, was influential to you. Moon Pussy kind of seems like a silly band, right? I mean, like you guys, like the lyrics, especially for your band, are not necessarily in that same vein as Fugazi, but like
No,
you
not at
said,
all.
yeah, like you said, this band's about just having fun, and I can kind of feel that through the music and through the words.
So it's definitely fun and funny, and I enjoy dad jokes, and it's based on a lot of silly humor.
Yeah.
But we also try to sprinkle in some harder topics and
Hmm.
open it up for discussion. Um, and we also do a lot of shows to help to benefit nonprofit organizations here, like um I guess not since COVID started, but before, I guess before the world kind of came crashing down, we had been doing a lot of free shows to help benefit the homeless out here and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I'm not
Okay.
in any way trying to relate us to Fugazi directly like that, but there I find them as an inspiration, um, just as a whole.
Sure.
But
I mean, that's exactly the point. I mean, like,
mhm.
you don't have to, and this goes with everybody I've ever spoken with on the show, based upon, one album in their life, that's a hard enough question as it is. I mean, it's not like that one thing is going to be the gateway into this person's whole life. But hearing it from you now, I mean, I can see the association. I can kind of see the connection a little bit better. And to say that the new record that you are working on will have out soon. It sounds like you're saying it's a departure, so it's a little maybe more heavy, a little bit more geared towards meaning, than just kind of like mindless fun.
Right. Thank
Yeah.
you. You're so eloquent.
Oh, I'm just having a good day, I guess, because it's not always like this.
That's
we'll s-
fantastic.
we'll see what else happens. So you said high school when you turned on to this album. What year was that?
I don't want to admit that.
Oh no, no. Well. So
I
this album
guess
came out in '98, right?
yeah, I think so. Yes.
So that
Right?
was the year you got turned on to it, or like, did you fall like because when you got
Oh no.
turned on to Fugazi, were you turned on to like a different record? Was this the first one?
I think it was the first album I listened to was probably it was a waiting room.
Oh, okay.
Um so and then it kind of I kind of deep dived from there.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I'm sure that I think probably I heard them on one of those silly compilation albums that you that used to come out like Epitaph or whatever. Probably not Epitaph. I'm not sure what they were on, but
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah.
Can't tell you. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Okay.
hard to say. They kind of have become like this, I don't know, this institution in our lives, I guess, in a way. Like it's kind of hard to say when they first kind of creeped in.
For sure. But they've always kind of been there too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
always go
great.
back to it. It's always like a joy to put one of their records on, even if it's just like not my favorite one of theirs. Like I didn't know this one very well. Like I've definitely listened to it in the past, and I definitely I've never owned a copy of it, but especially doing research because I've covered Fugazi before, and I mean every album's great. I mean they don't have a bad album.
No, no. And they put so much heart and soul into to each one. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah.
then the integrity behind everything, like everything that they do. Like I was just kind of catching up on the instrument documentary a little while ago, and it's just like they're just so righteous and like you're just pure.
Yeah. And the great people. I at the start of the pandemic, Joe Lally started offering bass lessons and I took some. And he's just the nicest guy. Um
Yeah.
and
Wow.
so humble. It's awesome. But
Right. Yeah, I've heard that they're all very approachable. Like, essentially, if I mean anyone that's ever been a fan of anything Discord has put out over the years, if you ever wrote to, Ian, he would probably write you back.
mhm, yeah.
So, yeah, that's great. Good
Wild.
people. Um, so let's see. So this album, this one is not one of their most popular, I guess. I guess it's kind of like under debate. Critics sometimes kind of overlook this one. What was it about this record to you that you think maybe had such an impact on you?
Well, that was one of the reasons I picked it. I was having a lot of trouble finding an album, and I knew that I wanted Fugazi, but I wanted something that maybe wasn't uh, highly praised as
Hmm.
much. But after I Wikipedia'd it in preparation,
Uh-huh.
not that that's a great source of info, but I read that as well and had seen how they had pieced together this album and this is what I think the only album where they all sing in it, which is kind of wild.
Oh,
um yeah, and used a lot of background sampling from bizarre objects. I thought that was pretty neat. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Ethan's guitar. I could probably grab it and show it to you, but he uses an onboard theremin.
oh,
He
okay.
builds his own guitars, and so that's a lot of the weird screeching sounds that we make in our music. And
I
so I
see.
wanted to try to relate that in some way. I don't know. It was
Hmm.
picked
Okay.
it. Um, and I don't know. I've listened to that album a lot in the past and thought it was something I could actually maybe speak about.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, so this album, I would not consider, I don't think anyone would consider this record to be noise rock.
No,
But so what is your experience with noise rock?
other than someone telling us that we are noise rock.
So that was
uh,
organic? I mean, that was just completely just the way that your band created music. There was no intention to be like a noise rock band.
no, I mean, like we just put stuff together, and I mean, what came out was what came out. I
Right.
don't think any plan. Essentially, it was just three friends having fun and wanting to play music together. However, it ended up. We have some really slow stuff too that I don't think would qualify as noise rock. But it's I we kind of ended up on the no coast circuit because of Jeff and Ethan having been friends for 30 something years.
Mm.
And that was essentially my introduction, getting to meet all these cool people that played all this awesome music that was heavy and fast and weird. And I mean, that kind of
Yeah,
got me into it. But
sure.
I guess
I
we've
mean,
been listening to stuff for a while. But
yeah. So you consider yourself to be a fan of noise rock bands?
sure, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now,
Yeah,
what do you like? What is your personal opinion on what noise rock is?
that's a great question.
It's the
I would,
stumper. It's the stumper for
is it a
everybody.
stumper?
Well, I mean, everyone has actually come up with a really great answer, and some of them share, so similar ideas, but some people kind of come up with some pretty amazing idea of like what it means to them because it's a very specific and personal thing, I think.
Good call. I think it's like I don't even know if this is the right expression. Like left of the aisle approach to rock and roll music that may not be, I don't know, mainstream music, and that has different elements of. I mean, it's like it's a mashup of noise and rock and roll. I think. I mean, it gets kind of messy
Hmm.
and rough, and I don't know.
Sure.
It's for the renegades of people that fit within some defined
Mm,
genre.
there you go. See, another perfect insight. I've been hearing, because I've had a number of these conversations already. In addition to the kind of disharmony melodically, obviously like a lot of screaming, a lot of like non-traditional vocals. Um, you get an element of chaos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely a part of it.
right. So I mean, and that's something that I've never thought about personally when thinking about this genre, but that kind of gets brought up in one way or another, and I could kind of see that that's kind of what you were right there on the tip of that, like saying chaos, but weirdness in general. I mean, like a lot of weird, just crazy elements kind of combined because that's the beautiful part about kind of doing a little bit of this series and talking with some of the bands that are on the bill for No Coast Fest 2022 this year, because they're all so different. I mean, I've been listening to a good portion of like the bands that are on the bills of all 4 nights, and it's a pretty wide array.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Jeff is an awesome curator and has, I mean, picked out each one of them. I don't know. I don't know how he does it, but
Yeah, no, I mean, he seems to be encyclopedic in his like knowledge of bands, and that's actually why I was really intimidated to talk with him because I've been having these conversations with the bands and trying to get into the brains of like these people that make the music, and he also is a musician and has been in these bands, and I was afraid he was going to be like the weird like kind of like gatekeeper, um just like really hard to talk to and like just kind of like full of himself because he knows everything about noise rock, and absolutely not. He's absolutely the most like sweet and like kind person, and just very just I don't know, just kind and generous, it seems. I mean, obviously doing something like this, which is a labor of love, and putting a festival like this together with all these bands and bringing all these people together from around the world now, it's outstanding. It's outstanding work.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
We,
and you've done it before. You've done it twice now, right?
yeah, we somehow managed to slip between the cracks and get ourselves in each one. Yeah, he's a fantastic guy, and going on tour with him is fun too.
Oh, you've been on tour with them. Okay. But that's great. So what is your plan to get to No Coast now this year?
Driving.
Well, I mean, are you touring or are you gonna tour to get
uh,
down there or are you just kind of doing a one-off?
we're gonna play a couple shows. Might as well be a one-off because we want to be there for all 3 days. So we made it a point to just play a couple shows and then just be there for the rest of it. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's more like shows on our way down, and that's about it.
Oh, and then you're just gonna hang.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, my mother's coming.
Really?
Yeah,
She's still a rock and roller?
no, big time. She loves Mets, and she's really
Oh,
excited about Tropical Fuck Storm. It's pretty
oh,
funny.
cool. That's
Yeah.
great. Oh, that's so wonderful. I was because I was wondering about her because you know how you mentioned her and she obviously was an influence on you and or at an early age, introducing you to a lot of like kind of crazy rock music.
Hmm.
So I think we'll talk about her in a little bit. Actually, we should probably just get into this album a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So the first song is "Break."
Yeah.
The song, for the most part, has no words. I mean, there's just a very brief, like one verse thing, kind of.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, the music for this song as an introduction to the album is pretty great, and I think it's kind of partially why this record was kind of criticized the way it was when it came out because it wasn't traditional post-hardcore like Fugazi was known for.
Right, right. They kind of went into to softer and more, I guess, diverse instrumentation. I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but
No,
it,
I think you're right. I think you're right by that. At least kind of method, like maybe recording methods that seems that they were experimenting with sound and texture in general. There was a lot of like as I think you had already said it was like sampling, a lot of like kind of I think they used drum triggers or they did something with the drums. They did drum machines, right?
yeah,
Or
they used a
yeah,
drum machine and then would play drums over it to kind of
add
maybe.
that organic feel to it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just like the weird stuff, like you know, like I was saying about the piano coming in, is just like I guess Ian is kind of known for writing on piano a lot, but has never really used it in the music up until like this point. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And I also read that they were recording very quietly. You know, so like if you, it kept on coming up in my research that the soundtrack for the movie Instrument was essentially demos for this album. Now, I mean, that soundtrack came out the year after this album, but um, I did listen to it just to kind of get an idea, you know, of where these songs were, kind of where they were coming from. And it's true because like they, you know, you would imagine Fugazi as just kind of like recording at 11 the entire time. Um, but they didn't. They actually recorded things fairly quietly. And I guess that's kind of where you can kind of start to hear a little bit more of the melodies and stuff in these songs.
It's a great point. I wish we did that.
You can try it next time.
I mean, after this next album,
Yeah, yeah.
we love going to 11.
Well, yeah, and it's fun and it's great. I mean, and it suits the genre really.
Hmm.
But you know, and this was, I mean, you're still a fairly young band, fairly new band. I mean, you know, you have two records out with the third on the way, and I mean, it seems that you're probably pretty interested in growing, you know, and kind of like developing, evolving as a band.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have to, right?
I mean, I
Music's
suppose so. It's
great.
been, yeah. I mean, I don't remember what it's like to work with people and work in a band anymore for the most part. It's been so long for me, but yeah. I mean, I think it's natural. I think it's natural to progress into something and to kind of like evolve into something different, even if it's something you didn't mean to do.
Hmm. But
Um,
yeah, I mean, no rules or instructions on doing this. It's great.
right.
As
Yeah,
long as you're
especially
having fun.
yeah, and especially being noise rock because it seems that you know you can get away with a lot of stuff being in a noise rock band.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's a lot more experimentation that you can do. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see what you end up doing, considering you know you want to try to do some new stuff and maybe something like this, you know, writing at a very quiet level and you know recording at a quiet level to kind of like see what you can do there.
We'll see if I can get the guys on board with that.
Yeah, well, it's all about experimentation, and obviously, you know, the guys in your band you're obviously close with, and you obviously can maintain a relationship, and you know, with any
Yeah,
relationship, it's all a balance, give and take.
for sure. For sure.
What one thing I wanted to ask you, which might as well just kind of get it out there, because there's no good way to kind of talk about it, I don't think, or at least not for me. I'm an idiot, and I'm really bad sometimes with my words. But
words are hard.
yeah, they sure are, and they're touchy. They can be loaded sometimes. So, but I really wanted to speak with you because you are a woman, and I'm curious about what it's like to be a woman in the noise rock scene, because I haven't spoken to anyone yet, that any women or people that identify as women in the noise rock scene yet. So
It's wild. I mean, I'm it's cool to play shows and have women come up to you and say, I'm gonna start a band. It's the best feeling ever. But as far as being, I mean, playing festivals and being the only woman that's playing, it can be kind of weird. But there's a lot of women in noise rock, I think, that I guess maybe not necessarily are the vocalists, but musicians. There definitely are a lot of women that play noise rock. I don't know. It's weird. I want more women to come out and start screaming about. I don't know.
yeah,
it's cool. It's a weird. It's not weird. I'd like to see more female vocalists coming out and starting bands, and I'm excited to the future, and I mean, hopefully having a larger representation of female vocalists. But I'm trying to think of some.
trying to think of some women in rock that you like.
Yeah. I mean, X-Ray Specs. I mean, that had a female.
Right.
Singer.
Yeah.
That was big. Am I thinking about the same time period? Bikini Kill, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, that was around then, I think. Yeah. Yeah,
That
so
was a big
it was happening. And I don't know. I guess I just kind of agree with you that it'd be nice to see, more of a feminine role kind of represented in noise rock as well. Because that's the thing. It's like I was actually starting to do this show, and I was just like, I haven't met any women yet.
Have
So I thought
you reached out to Hita?
I did. I have. And we will be speaking soon. Unfortunately, it's just taken a long time to kind of get a hold of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's as, and it's that way sometimes, some bands are busy, or they're just, some people don't like to talk. Some people are a little defensive about the idea of, getting personal on a microphone.
That was difficult for me, honestly. This is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, you're the front person. You got to get used to it. Seriously, I mean, you are the face of the band, and the voice of the band. So, I mean, like, don't you do most of the interviews, or how does that work for you?
I mean, okay, secret, first one by myself ever. So, hey.
Yeah. Well, so why is that? I mean, did you just feel more comfortable with the guys kind of going along with you, or?
Well, I mean, I feel like we typically always do these things together since it's our band,
Right. Okay.
And Ethan can talk about music a lot more clearly and succinctly than I can. And Corey has a completely different background with his interest in hip hop and more beat driven music. And so they have a lot of other interesting points to bring to the table. So
right. Okay.
Generally.
And that's completely fine. I understand that. A leader of the band, like the front person, the person that's doing the vocals, is typically what most people will look to as the front person, in a way. I know you play bass as well, so it's not like you're just the singer, but that carries a certain amount of weight to it. So I like that you're saying that, well, you're a band, and so it's not your band, it's everybody's band. It's everyone in the group's band.
We're all the front people.
Yeah, you all like have a equal interest in the band. I'm talking about this like I'm talking about real estate. But I know what you mean, and actually that kind of pertains to Fugazi, because they as well are like a unit. It's not like it's Ian's band. It's not that it's Guy's band. It's all of them. They all mean like that. It's not that band. It's not Fugazi if it's not all of them.
Right. Right.
Okay. All right. I just like to speak to one person though. It's just a lot easier for me.
I mean, that makes sense. I think we probably annoy people, all of our answers. Uh,
It just becomes harder. It's just more difficult to keep to a time frame and try to incorporate everyone, trying to make sure that nobody's left out. Nobody's like, everybody gets an opportunity to say something. So
fair. That's fair.
well, we can just move on to the next song, I think.
Sure.
Place Position. God, I love this band.
Right?
Such good grooves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you kind of just have to start dancing to it. It's
Yeah.
thick.
Have you ever seen them play?
No,
Oh,
never.
okay. Yeah, me neither. I know. Bummer.
Right? One of the saddest things. Being
I'm
allowed
holding.
to go to shows.
You weren't allowed to go to shows?
I mean, when you're young, also growing up in the complete opposite part of the United States, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I've ever been allowed to go see Fugazi, much less travel to see them. But
Oh, okay.
back then, while they're still operating.
Yeah, I'm still kind of holding out hope because like everything that I keep on hearing about them is that they are on this just hiatus. And like and like even an interview with Ian and Guy that I heard recently, like they said how like they just kind of like dropped these little like Easter eggs. Have just been like, yeah, well, we still jam, we still like play. So it's like, so why not put a record out? Why not like like do a show maybe here or there, something. So I'm like holding out hope that they are actually going to one day like reunite and not maybe necessarily do like a tour, but like at least maybe put a new record out.
Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, I can only assume that they're continuing to play stuff is because they're friends and they're doing it for them, and I can't,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Even more reasons, just like, well, why haven't you guys just done it? Like, why the hiatus? Why this like reach this point where like you don't want to continue? It's weird.
yeah. I mean, they all have their have other projects that they're working on, maybe
It's
that,
true. Yeah.
you know,
But if they're still jamming together, it's like,
just enjoy it. I bet. I mean, if you're in Fugazi, you're not going to want to stop.
I
I
guess
would
not.
think.
Yeah, that's what I think. But then at the same time, they do this indefinite hiatus. So I don't know. I'm just holding out hope. I think one day maybe they're going to do it, which
I
would be
hope
cool.
so. I'll hold
Yeah.
out hope with you.
Okay. So this song, Place Position. I was reading about this song, like, and so I went to one of those like song meanings websites, and somebody wrote in and with their idea of what this song means. And what they said was, where you are or where you're from is purely a matter of chance. Therefore, there's no such thing as home, and all wars over territory are ridiculous. And that seems pretty relevant. And I think that, speaking of Fugazi's kind of like ideology, it seems like that works out. That could be the case for this song. And it brings up an interesting point because I was just wondering, like, how lucky do you feel to be where you are now?
Very ridiculously, right? I mean, how lucky do
Sure.
you?
Well, I mean, I do feel very lucky. I mean, I'm from an immigrant background. I'm first generation United States citizen,
Oh, wow.
and I'm
Okay.
the only one. Like, actually, even my brothers are immigrants. So
That's definitely lucky.
yeah. I mean, so we all live here now, and we all are citizens.
Mhm.
They are all citizens, and I was born that way. But um, I mean, nothing against the country where my parents are from. I mean, it's a beautiful place, and I love to visit. But I think it's weird that I ended up here in Rhode Island, of all places, of all the places that we could have ended up. So how did you end up in Colorado?
School mainly.
Mm-hmm.
And Ethan, he decided to go back home and I decided to go with him.
Okay.
But Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel really lucky to be able to go to the mountains on a weekend if I feel like it. And it's beautiful out here. It's kind of what motivated me to want to study environmental related things and focus more on promoting, I guess, the increased lifespan of our planet. Um, but yeah, I am. I don't think I'm not first generation. My father's was born in Brownsville, which is where I'm from. My mother's from
Hmm.
Mexico City, so um, I definitely feel like I grew up with a lot of awesome tools to be able to live and be here now, and it's awesome.
Oh, well, you have a Mexican descent, is it?
And Spanish, I guess Hispanic, both. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so
Mhm.
and so that alone, I mean, is strange for me. I mean, I know what that's like to be like indigenous of some sort, or different from quote unquote Americans. Um, so I don't know. Did you feel like that was like a kind of a point of contrition, like growing up, like as a kid, and
I mean, no, not really, just because I was in this isolated bubble growing up in a border town, so everyone had similar complexions to me, although I was a
oh
bit
right, yeah,
darker
Texas,
and
right?
yeah, and on the border. But that place in general, I mean, being run by cartels and having a lot of, it's definitely a very uh, poor city.
Hmm.
So I was lucky to be able to, learn and grow and move.
Right.
Although that's, I think, probably one of the issues with it continuing to be the way that it um, is that a lot of people will leave. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I guess I've grown up or been or surrounded by people that have that similar taste in music and have them similar interests. So I don't know. I've
Yeah.
never really felt
Yeah.
um, like an outsider,
Oh,
but
okay.
um, yeah.
Yeah, you have a good sense of community growing up.
Well, I mean, as much as you can.
Right, right.
If I'm interested in, Selena and cumbia.
Oh, right. That's right.
So
Because you weren't into the rock and roll just then, like at that moment, like as a young person. Right.
yeah, it's just not available to you, and until you're, further along in your musical exploration days. I mean,
Sure. Okay.
one of my first shows my mother took me to see was the Misfits when they were coming through, and I was like 13. That was kind of my foray into punk rock, and kind of went from there. But
Oh, cool.
I don't know. Um, but yeah, listening to this song and reading the lyrics, and all origins are accidental. You've got no papers and no roads lead home anymore. That's pretty. That explains a lot.
Yeah, I think that something like that was kind of like what pulled that out of me as far as finding what this song means.
hmm I mean, one of our songs that we wrote recently called "Ice" was kind of a kickback to the how the U.S. is handling immigration policy current, or at least had been in the past few years. I think it's still going on.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the big spots where they are holding people and refusing to let them go, and one of that biggest ICE detention camps is right near my hometown, which is really upsetting. So
Mm.
um, yeah, so I mean, I can feel that there are definitely some issues with the luxury of being able to be here without or anywhere really without having to to prove that you deserve to exist.
Hmm. Okay. Well, this whole thing is going to actually relay into the next song, Recap Modotti.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I said that right. um, but similar theme actually to the previous song. It's like so. I mean, overlooking lyrics, I can't help but to think that this seems to be a typical immigrant story as well. Or I mean, I don't think that. Well, I guess he maybe is Italian, huh?
I think so.
So I don't know his history though. I don't know if like he like what like as far as his family's immigration into the United States is concerned. I guess maybe he has some experience with that, but I'm only speculating. I have no idea. But so in the song, typical immigrant story, someone leaving their home to provide for their family back home, only to be deceived by the American dream, is essentially the way I take it.
Yeah, that's a great uh synopsis of it.
They're beautiful words. Like the way they put their lyrics together
Mhm.
is I don't know, reminiscent of anything, of any good music really. But there's always that message, and that's kind of what they're known for, is kind of being able to preach something without being too preachy necessarily.
Right.
um so I don't know, I just thought it was funny that this record seemed to be speaking to me pretty easily, and like it was just kind of everything was right there on the page. It wasn't like I had to kind of go deep into like how are they saying this, what is like what could they be meaning by saying this in this way,
Mm-hmm.
there's
That's
still
the
some of
point.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so considering Recap Modotti, if that's how you pronounce that, is similar to the kind of discussion we just had about place position, I'm just going to skip that one and
Okay.
move on to the next song, No Surprise. Just face value of this song, being the title No Surprise. Was it no surprise you were asked to join No Coast again this year?
I mean, we kind of always essentially beg Jeff to let us, so no, not really.
Oh, so you were seeking it out because I mean, like we said before, you already did 2 years of No Coast.
Yeah, I think we kind of just, I mean, he asked us this year, but it was kind of one of those, we've done it every year. There's no way we miss it either way, as participants or as show goers. So
Hmm.
I'm I'm happy, I'm lucky, and grateful to be able to
Okay.
do it again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. No, it's wonderful. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be my first year, and
Ooh,
yeah, I will be there for the first 2 days. It seems. It looks like we unfortunately have to move on to Austin for the last 2 days.
okay. I hear that's going to be really fun too.
Yeah.
Um,
I have no idea what to expect. It's all going to be a massive surprise.
awesome. Well, we'll see you there then.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, and meeting your mother especially. It'll be pleasant.
That'll be great.
Yeah. So moving on to the next song, Five Corporations.
Hmm.
Fairly evident to be Ian's disdain with corporate greed.
That's I hopefully a lot of people's disdain at this point.
Right.
Uh, you know, yeah, uh, I agree with all of this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Are you looking over the lyrics right now?
yeah, I
Okay.
am.
Good. Good. I
A
don't
lot of
have
it.
them.
I mean, clusterfuck theory, buy them up and shut them down, then repeat in every town. Every town will be the same. This one's ours. Let's take another. Five corporations. There's a pattern. Gentrification. I don't know. It just it's kind of what's happening everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're building out all these crazy condominiums that will last maybe 5-10 years before they have to be torn down again or turn into Section 8 housing, which to begin with doesn't make any sense since no one can afford to live anywhere anymore. It's
Hmm.
weird. So
Right.
I
Right.
agree.
Do you have an idea of why it's five corporations specifically?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I would think I'm sure he has like specifics in mind.
Right. Right.
Uh,
But he never comes out and says it. So I just didn't know if like there was a like maybe there's a better understanding of why it's specifically five corporations. Because I mean, it could have been two, three, whatever.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look this up later.
Okay. All right, but I mean, so obviously, I mean, like my question was going to be for you, and obviously you kind of already answered it. It was like, are you sympathetic to the dissatisfaction of corporations,
Yeah.
corporate greed, all that
I
stuff?
it's so I don't yeah, we tear it down. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think that's kind of why we are involved in noise rock music, actually, because one of the other questions I kind of was coming up with and kind of like hitting a wall with multiple guests that I've been speaking with is kind of the idea of noise rock music being kind of possibly um, this new movement, kind of like what grunge was in the 90s, because it seems like it's taking off more. It seems like it's a little bit more accessible. It's a little bit more um, readily available. So with accessibility comes the idea is it's like, can a noise rock band actually succeed in crossing over into mainstream?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is DIY to begin with, and uh, I think that there's an just even more of a need and I guess a disgruntled uh, feel towards how music is being promoted in mainstream uh, avenues. So
Mm.
yeah, I feel like noise rock could be like maybe forming a bit of its own little anthem towards being more accessible because it is so DIY and so harsh and I don't know.
Mm.
But
Yeah, but then there's that aspect of like, okay, well, what happens with money when what happens when money starts becoming involved in the picture? And now, I mean, you can see, I've never seen any hard numbers, but you know, successful bands they make lots of money. Celebrity type, top tier bands can make, they end up becoming millionaires essentially. And maybe that has something to do with why Fugazi does not continue making music because that maybe they haven't sold a million records. I mean, I think collectively, I mean, Discord Records has sold millions of records,
mhm.
which technically would probably make Ian MacKay a successful musician and record label proprietor. But that might maybe be why they don't continue doing it because like their trajectory was just kind of always stepping up, right? Like with every record that they put out and every tour that they went on, they kept on getting bigger and bigger, ultimately having to play bigger venues. Ultimately, meaning even though they still charge the same price for a ticket, you're still making more money.
Mhm.
So, I mean, what do you do? I mean, aside from just giving all the money away to charity every time you play, taking like the minimum of what you need in order to live and to kind of garner a livable wage.
Right.
So I mean, like that, is this the problem? Is this the problem with like even aspiring for mainstream success?
I mean, it could be.
Would you have a problem with mainstream success if you were approached with the major record label? Do you think you'd have to really consider that?
Yeah, for sure. I think that we'd have to. I don't think that's within our uh, grand scheme of what we want to do with the band either. I
Right.
think I don't think that that's going to ever happen. Um, but
But
yeah, it's
but
definitely.
if it were, I mean, because that's the thing, is it's like let's just say that noise rock is having a renaissance and becoming the new grunge.
Mhm.
So you remember what happened? Nirvana broke and became huge, and all these other bands followed behind them because the record labels were seeing, oh, we can make a lot of money on Nirvana. Let's sign every Nirvana band we can. Everyone
Right.
that's related to them, everyone that they know, everyone that's in their scene. And next thing you knew, everyone had these huge record deals, and were able to essentially make a lot of money and have this musical career, right? So what if that happens now? What if that happens to the noise rock bands that are all let's just take all the bands on the bills of No Coast Fest. If all these bands, if one succeeds, let's say Mets breaks big,
I think they
like
already have.
Well, yeah, they have, but at the same time, I don't think that they would say that they have. I mean, at least not to the extent of like mainstream success, not
Right,
like in comparison to Nirvana.
right,
Is
right.
it possible? Like that's actually probably my biggest question, and that's probably the band that I would love to speak with specifically about that point, because they are poised for that. It seems. I mean, they're on Sub Pop. I mean, and Sub Pop is technically a major label now. It's not an independent anymore.
Right, right. I mean, they'd probably be better poised to answer this question
And I can't wait to ask them.
than theoreticals, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's up to each individual band, of course, to determine and figure out whether or not they're willing to go through that and make that big adjustment in their lives and
Hmm.
hopefully keep the humility and uh maintain a humble nature.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, here's hoping. I mean, they're nice guys. I actually have met Mets, and they are sweet
They're
people.
super nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have no ill will. Yeah, they're so cool.
Yeah. They've you know earned everything that they get.
For
Absolutely.
sure. I made them tamales once.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
that's cool.
Yeah, we got to play a show with them and brought them cookies and tamales.
Oh man, that's the best. That's the best thing when you're in a band, right? Like people just treating you well,
Yeah. Well,
good food, nice place to sleep. That's all you really want.
I'm hoping that that catches on in the US. I know that in Europe or so I hear, it's a big thing for touring bands that people will house them and feed them, and that's kind of part of it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens a little bit here and there. I mean, it depends.
Hmm.
There are people out there that know and
Yeah.
that want to be the person that helps out the up and coming bands. You know.
Hmm.
All right. Well, let's move on. Move on to the next song, Caustic Acrostic. So, from what I could gather, from actually just kind of taking the definitions of the words acoustic and acrostic, caustic meaning sarcastic or biting, and acrostic being a poem written where the first letter of each line spells out a word or words.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
that's what acrostic meant.
yeah, it's a type of poem, I guess. So the names of your songs are pretty funny, which we were talking about before, and but are there any deeper meanings behind any of them?
Uh, Not initially. Let me. I don't even remember what. um, I think a lot of them we kind of kept just because we were when forming the songs, and we just came up with random words and decided to keep them on the album even if they had no meaning
Hmm.
or didn't actually match up with what the lyrics were. I think like Band Pony being one of them. We decided to call it Band Pony because that was just the fill-in name while we were writing it.
Okay.
Um, but that's also on Corporate Greed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just a bit different. Yeah, I think we just like funny names,
Hmm.
and
Sure.
kind of with it for that album.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but the new one you're saying might be a little bit more, uh, I don't know, lyrically meaty.
Lyrically meaty, probably a little more intentional.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, let's move on to, I was going to skip closed captioned. I was going to skip floating boy. That one's almost essentially an instrumental anyway. So the other song is Foreman's Dog. So this one's weird. Um, my best guess of this one is that it seems to depict at least during one verse, um, the disgust of police brutality, specifically kind of being televised through things like the show Cops.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I mean, I can't figure out the first verse too well, but I imagine it must have something to do with kind of tying into that.
Yeah, this is this. Yeah, I mean, it definitely. is kind of a silly representation of the power that police have, and kind of making it seem okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's definitely not, as we can see nowadays. I mean, the inception of policing in general is kind of ridiculous. So,
Mm.
um,
Right.
yeah, I agree.
Right. Yeah. And then you have a song like the next one, Arpeggiator, which is an instrumental.
Yeah, for
But
sure, and
it's
that makes sense because it's a lot of arpeggios.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. Actually, I've
Mhm.
always loved this song. Like whenever this song comes on, it's always kind of really gripping for me. Like it automatically kind of sticks out. And every time I play the guitar, I always play an E chord because I'm just like, making sure it's in tune. And I
Mhm.
always find myself trying to play this song because it's that's all it is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That was one of the ones that Joe had suggested we learn whenever
Oh
I was
yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
doing.
That's
I
so cool. How many lessons did you take with him?
don't know, a summer.
A
I mean, as
summer?
long a summer, yeah. When everyone kind of got laid off, I decided to use a lot of these government dollars.
Oh, cool.
Get someone fun to try to teach me something.
Yeah. Well, what do you think you pulled away from that lesson? Those lessons?
I ended up getting a tabla box from India, which was something that they used in a lot of in a lot of their songwriting.
A
And
tabla box?
yeah,
What is a
um,
tabla box? It sounds
tabla box.
familiar.
It's a box that has these different, I guess, time structures based off Indian tablas. So
Okay.
not 4/4. It's just, but it's a repetitive beat. Um,
Hmm.
and it kind of creates some really weird timings, and it's fun. Um,
Oh, okay. So a
yeah.
tabla box is not an instrument.
No, I mean it could be. Yeah, you could sample it and use it. But it kind of creates a rhythm, I guess,
Okay.
which is outside of what we typically see in Western music.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's
All
fun.
right.
You can get one. It's great.
Okay. All right. I'll have to look it up.
Hmm.
Um, Next song, Guilford Fall.
Okay.
So this is an interesting one, and this is kind of possibly a touchy one because from what I gather, this is one of the only songs I've ever read of theirs. Looking over the lyrics, where I feel like the lyrics are fairly obvious and fairly straightforward. Um, so essentially, it seems that this song is about uh, someone with anorexia. I mean, and it sounds like the speaker, in this case, the singer Guy, is kind of just pointing that out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Uh,
pretty evident, right? I mean, it's not really mincing words there.
no, no, it's not. I mean, all right, you see your programmatic mind surrenders appetite and you crash yourself all over the place, snake ingest 40 times their body weight. But you emaciate, you crash your shit all over the place. Now open your mouth.
Yeah, that's how it ends. It's just
Yeah,
you just like
that's all.
can I just imagine Guy with like this like massive spoon, just like fucking ready to shove it in their mouth.
Yeah, I mean, initially I was thinking you seem satisfied with the little received. Like there's a lot of third world countries where you don't get enough
Right.
food, but some of these are the happiest civilizations on the planet, and they're
Hmm.
just happy with little. Um, but yeah, then you go further down in the song, it definitely speaks anorexia. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely pretty straightforward there.
Hmm. I mean, I guess as a musician, as a writer, you just kind of write whatever you think about, whatever is on your mind, and if you know somebody that is suffering from that disease, maybe
Hmm.
this is the way you express yourself about it.
For sure. I mean, that's where these things come from, right?
Right. Right. I know that you were talking about the new album and being kind of a little bit more deliberate with your words. Is there anything that kind of struck you that maybe was a little uncommon musically for you to tackle on the new record?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe no, not nothing. I mean, we kind of dealt. We're getting slower, but we've always kind of had. We like to go slow sometimes, so I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't think I can answer that really.
So like the
I don't think.
feel of the music is a little bit more progressive in the sense where like, you're willing to change it up and kind of instead of just blaring everything out at 11 and kind of like having this very noisy sense, you're trying to maybe work with a little bit more melody and kind of even tempo.
What? Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
All right. Well, that's good. That's cool. I mean, looking forward to hearing it in that case. So all I have in closing is that I have found this blurb from pumpkinuse.org. It says that N Hits was an album that didn't get the appreciation that it deserved. It really did belong up there with what were considered Fugazi's classic albums. They touched upon some really weird and cool experimentation and really pushed their sound in some songs, while others were some awesome and hard-hitting hardcore anthems. It's even arguable that it is one of the best records to come out of the late 90s. So now we've already been talking about you that you already have a new record. Um, but so I was kind of curious, do you think about the direction that you'll head, or do you wait for the creative process to show you the path?
I think it's the latter. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, again, we're having fun, and we're just trying to push ourselves a little more every day.
Hmm.
uh, that's about as far ahead thinking that we go. I mean, it's not as long as we're enjoying it. What comes out is from our interactions and just enjoying playing music together. So it's not. We don't really have a trajectory.
Right, right. And so now you're not even really thinking about it. I know that like with us speaking about this tonight and specifically kind of speaking about this record, we've kind of tackled some ideas that maybe it seemed like were foreign to you as far as it's like, oh, well, like, oh, maybe we can do something like that, with our music. It's just like, do you think that you will think about that more now, or just still just take it wherever it comes from?
I mean, for sure. I think that all of our interactions daily affect what we create and the output that happens, you know?
Mm.
Um, so, I mean, I'll bring it up. Maybe we don't have to turn up to 11.
But it sure
So,
is fun when you do.
oh, yeah, I love it.
But so now, well, you only have one show between now and No Coast.
Yeah, we've actually been actively trying to avoid playing shows so that we could focus more on writing.
Okay.
You
And
know,
when is that show happening?
leading up to No Coast, I believe we're playing OKC on the 26th. I might be wrong. I'm not the
Okay.
calendar person. I just go where when I'm summoned. Uh,
You're just there to enjoy the ride.
kind of.
I hear that.
So
Okay.
yeah, it will be on our website, I'm sure, at some point, and that's probably where I'll get the info as well.
And then you'll be at No Coast, just enjoying all the acts along with everybody else, and playing on Saturday, right?
Sunday, we're playing Sunday.
Sunday. Oh,
hmm
that's right. You're on Sunday. Okay.
With Chat Pile and Ken Mode and
Yep.
the bands. I'm so excited. Just in general,
Yeah,
I'm just happy
that's
to be
great.
here.
No, I
So
know it sounds great. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm very excited. And when you are there, are you going to be? We're going to have any merch available?
yeah, we have a couple new things. I'm gonna try to have another cookbook available, and I'm yeah, pretty
Cookbook?
excited about that. Oh yeah, that's one of our weird side merch things that we ran. We
I
decided to
haven't I
make a
haven't seen it. I like looking your band up. I haven't seen anything about the cookbook.
yes, it's a little another Easter egg. Yeah, we have a cookbook. So yeah, I'll make sure to bring you one too.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. What is its like focus on?
I mean, I have a lot of my grandmother's recipes, my mother's recipes, different
Oh,
family recipes that from all of us, as well as interesting tips on guitar building and pedal board building, and it's everything. Jokes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's
Well, that sounds great.
DIY cookbook thing. Yeah, so we definitely have merch. Hopefully we'll have that as well. Shirts, albums, whatever. The
Right.
use as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, because I just want, I want to be able to pick one up from you.
Yes.
Hope to see you there on Thursday, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think so. More than likely.
Okay.
Is it starting Thursday? I thought it started Friday. Am I
Yeah,
crazy?
it's 4 days this year.
Okay, yeah, then Thursday. See, I'm all turned around. I don't know. I live at night. My days like are halfway between one day and then the
Right.
next. So it's kind of
Okay.
weird.
I hear you. All right, that's fine. Either way, even if you're just there on Friday, I'll be there for Friday on Friday for sure. Friday and Saturday.
Sweet, and you can meet the rest of the guy, Corey and Ethan.
Yes, by all means, please introduce me.
Yes, they are funny. They're way funnier. I mean, if they had been here, we'd probably be just nonstop joking.
That's
So
cool.
you know,
That's all right. We'll get that opportunities.
yeah, we'll have fun.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Likewise, thanks for being up late.